Welcome to the OhioRAAM Show.
Well, hello everybody. This is Jim Lawyer here, and you're watching another live OhioRAAM show, the show about ultracycling and everything else about cycling also. Hey, Lee.
Hi, Jim. How you doing?
Very good today. How about yourself?
Well, I had a pretty good day so far. Let's try to keep it going that way.
Yep, definitely.
Yeah, and we're here because of all the wonderful people who operate the Race Across America time stations here in Ohio. Time station 41 in Oxford, 42 in Blanchester, 43 in Chillicothe, where Jim runs it. Yeah.
Yep.
And we've got some news about that, but you don't have
sooner or later. Yeah, I haven't been buried with everything else, real life stuff, I guess.
Well, you know, life does happen.
Yep.
And by the way, it happens to be Mother's Day.
Yes.
That's why we see the little mother overlay there, our little heartthrob for all our mothers down there in the corner. And as we were talking before we go on the air, all you people in Ohio, I want to tell you, you remember Mother's Day very well if you've been around cycling very much, because this was the weekend of the famous tour of the Scioto River Valley. It actually is no longer the mighty Tazerv it once was, but I realized, Jim, that I had been involved in it, done it 36 years. I can't believe that.
That is amazing, Lee.
If you'd asked me, I'd have said 25, but I got the figuring it up here. It used to be a gigantic ride, thousands of people. It's kind of dwindled. There's myself and my youngest son, and I think they're out 2004. Me, 2005, in front of the McDonald's in Waverly.
Wow.
People. Hey, there's Chuck Harris,
yep.
the Mirror Man, with my son, my eldest son, his wife, and my granddaughter. We kind of made it a family affair.
That's awesome.
There is none other than Casey Shoemaker, RAAM winner. She was soaking wet, and we always got soaking wet on Tazerv. But we wouldn't have this weekend if it was going off, would we?
Nope. Would have been nice.
Very nice
yes,
weekend.
Definitely.
Here. Comments and questions. We want everybody to at least tell us where you're at, if nothing else.
Yep, and our good friend Amber says hello.
The Shivingtons, they always show up. They're determined to win something, aren't they?
Definitely. And we're going to do a very great live coverage of Doug's world record attempts next Monday.
Oh, that's coming up Monday.
May 16th, yes. He's raising awareness for veterans with PTSD and TBIs. So we'll be out there for 12 hours up at the Hardin County Fairgrounds. So it'll be a great time.
Be sharing that live here on the show, won't we?
Definitely, yes, definitely.
And that's great.
And Doug's out there too, so thanks for joining us.
Yeah, the way you get in the hopper here is by just making a comment. And one person just put an emoji in. They didn't have a comment. That bottom, even a period will do it.
There you go.
Yeah, so we'll give away a membership to the $10 Bike Club. And
yep.
It's a great facility. It costs you $10 a year, but you don't get any advertising. There's no emails, right? Anything like that. And
yep, and no criticism, no, why are you riding that kind of bike or this kind of bike? Just all helpful information.
Yep. And in the news, Jim said you didn't have any, but
no, I don't.
I just want to remark on Joe Barr's race over this weekend in Northern Ireland.
Yes.
And I see they've got some records were set there.
Yep.
This year. Joe's a great friend of ours, and just want to give him a shout out and all the people up there. I think that's all finished by now.
Yep.
500 mile, 330, I believe, was the other distance.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, Jim, tell us about our partners.
There you go. We've got a lot of great partners. We got, of course, Race Across America. Couldn't be here without them. And tremendous Spiegel Bikes help sponsor us, and Infinity Seat also. And the great city of Oxford, Blanchester, and Chillicothe, where we have our time stations. And, of course, 10 Buck Bike Club. We appreciate all of you.
Oh, I just realized, Jim, I did not get the title page up for Srini Golkolna, who's going to be our guest here next week from Bangalore, India.
Yeah, yes, and it's going to be an early show, correct?
Yeah, it's going to be 8 o'clock in the morning, so it's a convenient time for people in India. That's what we've decided to do so far until somebody shoots us over it. So
that won't happen.
8 o'clock in the morning, but the shows are always recorded, so you can see them later. Srini's been on the show a number of times, and he's a good friend of ours, and he is currently scheduled for Race Across America 2022, the first Indian to ever finish the Race Across America, and provided us with one of the most exciting Rams we've ever had.
Definitely.
Him and I forget who he's racing. Anyhow.
Right.
But we'll have Srini on again, and we hope that we can give him a little boost. Hey, follow us on Facebook, please. If you're watching us on YouTube, hit that subscription button and ring that bell while you're there, because that helps us get the word of ultra cycling out. With that,
definitely,
we're going to go up to the Icebox of America. I understand they own that name, actually. Bill Engel, isn't that true, Bill?
Hey, Bill.
Hey, guys. Hey, thanks for having me. Yeah, I've lived in International Falls for 7 years now, and they are very proud of their heritage and very proud of being the Icebox of the nation.
Well, it's about as far north as you can go in the lower 48, except there's one little neck up above you there. And you're up there in Voyager country, aren't you? The French Voyagers.
That is correct. In fact, our community college there, that is their nickname, the Rainy River Community College Voyagers. So
interesting.
If you never heard of the French Voyagers, look them up on Wikipedia. It's a great story. Most of us don't know anything about. And from way up in Minnesota, we're going to the city of New York City with Kristin Sampson, the crew chief for Bill. How are things in New York City, Kristin?
They are fantastic. Thank you so much, Frank.
Awesome.
I'm going to give her mic just a little bit
just
of
a little bit. Yep, definitely. Yep.
Well, I promised Jim that we wouldn't get into opera too much. We've kind of got some of that out of our system before the show went on the air, but we do want to say that you are a soprano. You sing, you are part of the New York City Opera Company. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Glad to see that company's still around. They went through some hard times a few years ago, but I guess they're still with us. And I tell you what, we're not going to get into that, but Kristin has a refreshed website. There's a lot of her artistry on there. If you'd like to hear some of her work, you can find it there. And if you'll go to find that for me, Jim, the OhioRAAM Show website,
we'll get it up there.
There's a link to her website there in the show notes that you can follow her. And that's really great. OhioRAAMshow.com. Just go there and you can find out more about Kristin. Glad to have you with us here. I do have to ask, now in his notes, Bill claimed that you are his girlfriend. Is that accurate?
That is correct.
I just wanted to get that straight before we dug ourselves any deeper here.
She could have kicked me to the curb on that one.
There you go.
Well,
live
I
on the air.
Now,
no doubt.
We have an opera singer in New York City and a basketball coach in the far north of Minnesota.
There you go.
I think we need to find ourselves a good librettist. I think that has the makings of a great opera.
Well, there you go.
There you go.
How did that happen? I mean,
well, I guess it's a little bit of a long story, but it goes back to Texas. Kristen and I actually grew up together. We met when we were 14 in College Station, Texas. So we knew each other for a long time and kind of, lost touch for a while. And after about 20 years, we sort of found each other again.
That's great.
And so you're going to risk, Kristen, being his crew chief on his rookie race across the West, correct?
I absolutely am thrilled to be involved with this. We took on a very exciting race, Longhorn 500 last year, and I had the privilege of, aiding him in that endeavor. And when he started to discuss the prospect of RAAM, it sounds thrilling, and I couldn't be more delighted to be a part of it with him. Share that experience.
Awesome.
Well, let's hope this romance lasts to Durango. Let me warn you, this hasn't always been the case, but I think you probably
definitely
have this together.
I would definitely say, he's got the mental and physical stamina and discipline to take on these races. And, if anything, I'm a giant cheerleader, and I help stay organized and help with the nutrition and all of those things. It's like I know my role, so it's very clear. And he does amazing stamina and endurance work on that bike. So I couldn't expect it more.
And you can serenade him over the radio with
that is
singing.
Correct. I will serenade him, make sure he's awake.
There you go.
Well, there's a couple of RAs you could do that would wake him up, that's for sure. Yeah. Bill, tell us a little bit about your cycling background, how you got into this, and
definitely.
Got to this point.
I think probably like most people, you grow up with a bike and you're going from point A to point B. I actually grew up in the Massachusetts area, not too far from Boston. And, if we were going to get from point A to point B in the 1980s, it was going to be on bikes. So and then ended up moving to Texas. And, but again, you just think about it as riding. You're not doing it for anything specific. You're not thinking about the brand of bike or the chain or the group set. And, the whole riding thing and endurance riding really came much later in life. COVID actually boosted it because there's more of an opportunity to get out and ride and do a few more things. And started a few short triathlons and got into some of the longer triathlons, and then sort of figured, well, I don't swim or run very well, but I do like being on the bike.
Yep.
So just kind of took it from there, and just stumbled across the Longhorn 500, and we did that, and it was tough, but I mean, we had a really good time. It was really enjoyable, and took some pretty good advice from folks down there, and we just kept moving forward with it. And then the next one we looked at was RAAM. Thought, we're gonna have to get a few more crew members, but can we do this? And when is it, and how do we get out there, and can we raise a little money for some folks? And so it so far it's been really good. But I mean, my background is very brief, so anybody who's got any advice as far as what to do, how to approach it, I'm all ears.
Yep, and that's the great thing about ultracyclists. They all give to each other, it seems like. Very open, and even if you're racing against somebody, they'll help you to death.
It's a great family.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, when we were at the Longhorn, and we were in line getting registered and what have you, and I just asked somebody up there, and give me some advice. I said, it's my first time doing anything like this. What's the number one thing that we need to know? And the guy just said, he goes, don't chase people. He said, just don't chase people. He said, get out there, just ride your race, listen to your crew, and even if you see somebody, if you pass them, but don't try to chase them. And so we took that advice, and I'll tell you what, 13 people started, 8 finished, and I finished 8th, but we did finish.
That's correct. That's awesome. Yes.
You didn't finish 8th. You finished 8. I mean, you finished 8 out of 13.
Yes.
You think of it that way.
Yeah.
Make sure people watching out there, give us some comments. Just tell us where you're at, if nothing else, so we can get your name in a little giveaway here. Some people dropped in. Well, I'm sure Jim's going to be interested in this because this is kind of his forte. Training in that cold environment.
Yes.
What's your strategy?
Well, my strategy is to really hope that it warms up so we can go outside.
Well,
Well, for the most part, we got an indoor trainer, one of those little kinetic trainers that we hooked one of the bikes to, so we can get on that and go about it. And I'm not a huge fan of it, but it does work, and kind of deal with it and turn the television on and stay busy and see if you can, knock off a few hours here and there.
Yep.
But, really my strategy has just been, do that to maintain, get in the pool, do some swimming, do some running on the treadmill and elliptical, some weight training. And then, as soon as you get a day close enough to being warm and the roads are clear, get out and get going and just try to build on it. Last year, we were able to get out in March on the roads and really get a lot of riding in. And this year, we've really been pushed back some, but now it's been much better. This last week was really good, and so I'm hoping to have some bigger mile weeks, coming up for the next 3 or 4 weeks, and feel good about it.
Gotcha. Being from the Icebox, how are you training for the heat that's going to happen on Raw?
Really, I haven't at all. As far as I don't know how to simulate it other than I can try to go find a sauna to sit in once in a while, but realistically, I've thought about this a lot, and I think it's the mental approach that you have to have, and you've got to deal with suffering. I remember my son bought me a book by David Goggins, and he talked a lot about suffering, and he was an ultra marathoner, and he did some ultra cycling, and to go along with being a Navy SEAL, and just the idea that you have to accept the fact that you're going to suffer and you're going to be uncomfortable, and although we can't simulate the heat up there, we can go out there and deal with the difficult wind and the difficult rain, and probably going to get a little frostbite on your toes and fingers from time to time, and just realize that it's the mental toughness and stamina that you need. And when you get into the heat, obviously it's the same mental approach, it's just a different temperature.
There you go. Exactly. That sounds great. And I'm sure Kristin's going to take care of you nutrition-wise and keep you hydrated, etc. You got plans on that, Kristin?
We do. And, honestly, I think the thing that we learned with the Longhorn 500, if I can be so bold and say, it's make sure that whatever we put in front of him is something that we know he likes.
Yes.
Of course, it's nutritious. Of course, it's going to be, sometimes a gel, sometimes fresh fruit, but things that are, cold to bring down the temperature if he's overheating, lots of fluids. And as silly as it sounds, we'll either chase him with a car or make him stop to get those fluids in, because that is paramount, that we can never let him get to that moment where there is the dehydration factor, takes the best of him. So
definitely,
we're definitely staying on top of that. And, he started talking about, a cryo vest, to perhaps cool the body and maybe do extra things, just with physical garments to try to keep the overall body temperature down. But with nutrition, absolutely, the first little morsel would be making sure it's things that we know he loves to eat.
Gotcha. Excellent.
No reason at all to put anything in front of him that he doesn't like. So that's kind of that's kind of what we've gone with so far, anyway.
Excellent.
Yeah, the nutrition at Longhorn was great. There's some things that are unexpected, like as you stop, you don't realize just how long it takes you to eat something. If you sit down for dinner and you consume something, it seems to go pretty quickly, and you could have seconds or thirds. And, when you're out there with that type of activity, you take 3 forks full and you really don't want to have any more. But obviously it's important. And I guess kind of along the way, you find some things that you do like, for whatever reason, grapes seem to go really well. Any ice cold drinks were really good. And then we had cold pasta that was good, and turkey sandwiches. That was, for whatever reason,
awesome.
Turkey sandwiches were kind of hit the spot. And I think the reason was I remember watching a show on, I think it was on GCN, about Mark Beaumont, and Mark Beaumont's riding across the world, and I think he said that he had turkey sandwiches or something like that. So we tried it, and for whatever reason, it seemed to stick. And another weird thing was, it didn't matter how much mayonnaise she put on, it could never be enough. I don't know why, but it just seemed that way.
That's awesome.
Absolutely good point.
Everybody's got their thing, I guess.
There you go.
It wouldn't be mayo for me, but it's a little bit okay. But yeah.
Gotcha.
What kind of a crew have you got lined up, Kristin?
Well, right now we've got myself, and we have Don Miller, who is one of Bill's former coaches, and with us primarily as the leads on the vehicles. And then we have a couple people that at this moment, I'm not going to go through their names, but we've also got them lined up. So it looks like we're going to be juggling between, 4 and 5 people, just dependent upon our stops and who wants to be where. But we've got people with strengths in navigation, people who have strengths with medical, people who've got strengths with, even help with the nutrition because they've served on other crews. So, we really try to diversify and in the best way possible, just, have all around people who are willing to just grind it out with us. Yes. There's going to be things that will come up that we just have to deal with. And we need to have people that will stay poised and calm and just encourage Bill. That's what we want.
Yes.
So the plan is to try to just have people who are willing to kind of maybe learn on the fly as much as they can, but also bring their strengths.
Gotcha.
Well, before we get too far in the show, we'll get back to talking about RAAM and so forth. But we do want to emphasize that you are riding in support of the sports program there at Rainy River Community College.
Right.
And we don't have a web link to it, but we do have a link to Bill's email address in the show notes. So if you'd be interested in helping with that, finding out more about it, support it, you want to say a little bit about what you're doing there and what your goals are for that program, Bill?
Yeah, absolutely. So I coach the men's basketball program at Rainy River Community College. So we're raising money for that program because, we're terribly underfunded. It's just the way that it is at a small school, but we need money to have a complete schedule, and excited about our program and the success we've had there, and just want to continue to do that and have a full schedule. So we're trying to raise some money for that, but at the same time, we're also raising money for youth hockey in International Falls, and it's something I've became involved. I'm not only involved in the fact that I've gone to a couple board meetings and met some people there and just said, this is what we're doing. We like to be involved with the community. We've adopted a highway with our basketball program and some other things, but just wanted to be involved with hockey and said, hey, do you mind if we try to help raise money for you? And obviously International Falls being a hockey town and Minnesota being a hockey state, and, just really good people. And we all know how important youth sports are. So, yes, we need money for our program, but we also want to be able to share that with somebody in our community as well.
Okay, very well.
Excellent.
Yeah, that sounds good. And now, how large a school is Rainy River?
Rainy River Community College is one of the smallest colleges in the nation. We probably have on average between 200 and 250 students.
Wow.
But we are very proud of our success we've had. Our men's basketball team was actually ranked 11th in the nation this year earlier.
Well, excellent. Congratulations.
Well, thank you very much. So,
well, it'd be interesting, if you don't know where International Falls, Minnesota is at, get your Google Maps out and find it, because it is an interesting location. It may be one of the most remote cities in the lower 48, Bill, as far as distance from larger communities. And I was wondering, as I was thinking about this show, you're on the border there. And my observation of some of these smaller communities along the border in the past, had some experience with them. There's a lot of cross communication. There's services in one town, service in another. How did that all go during the pandemic? Were you able to cross the border at all? How did that impact you?
It didn't really impact us much, but as far as COVID goes, it definitely impacted the border. So they shut the border down, and very few people were able to cross either way, unless you had something urgent that was considered urgent, I should say, that you could cross. Otherwise, people were pretty much stuck on one side or the other. Now, it is interesting. The Canadian folks will actually cross over and come ride on the American side because the roads are better. So, it used to be when I rode a little bit earlier that we'd run into some Canadian riders, and good riders, I'll tell you that. I mean, really good, strong riders. Always enjoyed riding with them. But Unfortunately, when they shut down the border, it really hurt International Falls economically because you have a lot of people who will travel to International Falls and then they'll basically stage there before they go into Canada to go fishing. And so we get a lot of tourists that come through. We get a lot of people who stay in International Falls or in that area, but COVID, shut down a lot of that travel. Then it shut down a lot of the Canadian travel. It shut down folks coming from Canada into International Falls for, a movie or dinner or, their groceries, gas, whatever it might be. So, economically it was tough on our little city there, but we're starting to make progress again. And I mean, if there's ever a resilient bunch of people, they certainly probably live in International Falls.
Awesome.
Well, I have to say, I won't name the state, but I was riding eastbound from another state into Minnesota near the Canadian border. And I remember almost being in tears over the roads and how much better life got when I got to Minnesota. So we won't go any further with that. We might have some friends from up there. In fact, we had some people on the show from up there, but that's another
definitely.
story.
Yeah.
But, I just was amazed at how the roads could change that fast with just what the difference was.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm going to ask Kristin the same question. How did you survive the pandemic? Did you have work or what happened? I mean,
I actually had the privilege of being in International Falls during that period and getting to work with a lot of the students if they were still there, tutoring them through their academics. But as an opera singer, of course, we were considered a super spreader event, or singing rather. Live performance is a super spreader event. So I lost 6 contracts, a couple years of work, and it's just wonderful to be back on stage. But overall, it was for everybody's safety. I support all of the closures because you just don't know, and we didn't know at that point, rather, what was going on with COVID. And, now that we're on this side of it, I still really respect the caution that people take, with all of their varying degrees of precautions. But, it was kind of difficult for a while, but I did have the privilege, because of COVID or as a result of COVID, of being with him when we did this Longhorn 500. Had it been any other period of time, I would have been on stage elsewhere. And instead, I got to experience that with him. It was
great.
It was
Very
fantastic.
Good. Very good. Well, we'd like to see you here at the Dayton Opera sometime, Kristin. That would be wonderful.
Absolutely.
Put a bid in for that.
Jim? One question about your crew and training and etc. Do you have any plans on getting the crew together and doing a trial run of any kind before RAAM happens?
We've been throwing around some dates and trying to work on some things because it looks like most of our crew will come out of Texas, just some former friends and what have you.
Right.
But I don't know if the dates are going to work. I mean, right now it just seems like when you look at traveling, it's a day to get there and a day to get back. And how many days are you off the bike? And are you going to transport the bike? Are you going to rent a bike? How does all that going to work? So we might end up doing most of our stuff as far as talking to our crew just through Zoom. Kristin had mentioned Don Miller. Don Miller was my former high school basketball coach and former Marine, and great guy. Awesome. And he's actually probably more of a tried and true football coach. In fact, he just won as an assistant coach a state championship at Franklin High School. So
wow, excellent.
Yeah, but as a former Marine, let me tell you, he's he's not going to back off, and he's going to be pretty direct. And we look forward to having him. And his strength, or one of his many strengths, will be navigation. And I thought we'd go over the whole map in about 30 minutes. Well, 90 minutes later, after he and I were still on the phone, he was still wanting to go over details and pick apart everything. And what are we going to do here, and where are we going, and why are we doing this? And I started talking about sleep, and he started laughing and saying, "Hey, all we need is coffee."
There you go.
Yeah. Well, Kristin, I'm going to ask you my 4 a.m. question.
There you go. I was waiting for it, Lee.
When you wake up at 4 a.m. in the morning and the thoughts of what's coming for RAAM, what crosses your mind? What's the thing you start thinking about?
I'm a list maker, and I'm always somebody who has probably more positivity than the average bear. So I will immediately upon waking make sure that all of the things that we've set aside and all the lists that we have everything ready to go, that we don't leave anything behind. And then in the very next turn, it's going to be make sure to address all of his needs, because I know as crazy as it sounds, you start to think about, of course, the kit, the shoes, the sunscreen. I mean, sunscreen, making sure that skin is protected, making sure that he's got, the appropriate, everything from the right straws to the right bottles to the right, all of it. It's all part of it. So when I wake up at that 4 a.m., I would literally probably go through that checklist, make sure that we're packed, good to go. And then probably in the best way possible, make sure that everybody is positive and motivated, because when we are positive and motivated, everybody just stays kind of on board together. It's a very good team bonding thing. So,
well, anybody that's got enough guts to get up on stage and go out in front of those demons who are going to rip every note apart.
Yep.
You'll see it tomorrow's paper. That takes a lot of courage, I'll have to say, and I stand amazed. But Bill, what's your 4 a.m. thought?
Well, if you mean like 4 a.m. as we approach the race,
if you get to thinking about it in an odd moment.
Yeah, definitely for me, when I have those thoughts, it's not wanting to let people down. Having our crew there that people you've known for a long time, and maybe a couple new people that we're going to pick up, but just people have made a lot of sacrifices, and you're trying to raise money for organizations, and you're trying to represent International Falls and Rainy River Community College and all these folks, and you just don't want to let them down. And I think that was the biggest thing with the Longhorn going into that, was just keep moving, keep going, don't let folks down. So yeah, that's the thing that sticks with me. As far as during the race, I think the biggest thing, we tell our guys this all the time, is that motivation follows action. Don't get those two things confused. So when you don't feel like doing it and you're going to wait around to get motivated, you might wait a long time. So you just got to go out there and start doing things, and you'll start feeling a little bit better about it. And that's where the motivation comes from.
Yeah. Mark's asking, how many people will you have on your crew?
Well,
roughly.
We're guessing probably 4 to 5. Obviously, Kristin and Don, and we've got a couple other folks that we're talking to right now. A couple with work schedules that we're friends and that we've known for 40 years. And then a couple of new folks that we put out a little advertisement on one of the ultra cycling venues, and got a couple of responses from people that we really like, and we're just trying to work out the details with them. But we're kind of looking at that, most likely 4 to 5 we think would be a good number. But we'll have 2 cars, and we're willing to take any advice that we can. When we did the Longhorn, it was just Kristin and our other friend Rod Lang, and so it was just 2 people in 1 car. And now we're going to have 4 or 5 in 2 different cars. And from the best thing in the research that we've done, it is get all the biking stuff into one vehicle and keep that vehicle with the cyclist, and use the other one to run errands, and everybody else is going to have their suitcases in the second vehicle, I would assume.
Yeah. Are you going to have a backup bike, or are you just taking one bike?
We'll have 2 bikes. So I've got a Trek Amonda SL5 that I just got in 2021 that I really like, just trying to get that all dialed in with a bike fit and what have you. And then an older Giant Defy 3, I think it's 2012, but just kind of debating on some different things right now. I mean, he was even thinking about, and somebody could comment about this, or you guys could tell me about putting flat pedals on the Defy, just because, you start getting cramps or hot spots, in your biking shoes or what have you, that maybe it's better to put on, some type of sneakers or what have you, and jump on the other bike for an hour or so, just to, give your foot a little different feel there.
A little bit of change.
Yeah.
What, this always seems like a stupid question, and probably is, but
never.
Now, Jim, what is your long term? You got any goals after RAAM? It seems probably everything's focused right there now, but
we've talked about this as well, and we tell our guys, like on our basketball team, number one, dream big, but at the same time, have a path. And I think it was Herm Edwards, football coach, that said, if a dream with our goal with no path is just a dream. You're not going to get anywhere with it. So have a path to what it is you're trying to accomplish. And after RAAM, we would like to do RAM. We've looked into the Hoodoo 500 and some different options possibly there. And then just some destination rides. We went out and did Moab a year and a half ago. We went out and did that. And, it was just more like a Grand Fondo event where you just went out and you just rode. And we had a great time. It was fantastic. We had 2 great rides out there. But yeah, I would really, really like to pursue some more riding. And believe it or not, we've even talked, if we can get through RAAM and RAM, that maybe, swimming the English Channel might be something we put on our radar.
Wow.
Hey, listen, keep us in touch with what's going on. Well, yeah, never hesitate to send Jim or I an email.
Okay, get us both in trouble.
The joy of live shows.
There you go.
I was thinking about Carmen, maybe, Kristin. But let us know what's happening. And, of course, we always try to watch people we've had on the show and keep in touch and have you on again sometime. We're going to spin this little thing here.
All right.
We've had a few people put in their comment and see what happens. Stay around after the show's over for just a little bit. We'll debrief for a moment. So, run it, Jim. See you.
All right, here we go. And it's spinning. Let's see who's going to be the winner tonight.
Somebody thinks they've won, and then there's one more.
Fakes them out.
Catch up, yeah.
Mark! Awesome. Let me get that up here. Hang on.
Okay. Anything that you'd like to share with us before we call a halt to this, Kristin or Bill?
No, we just appreciate you guys having us on and having this opportunity, and we look forward to RAAM and obviously all the people we're going to meet and be around, and just really look forward to that fellowship.
Okay, send your information to winner@OhioRAAMshow.live, Mark, and we'll get that information to you about how to be a part of that. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. Thanks a lot, Bill, for being with us. Thanks a lot, Kristin.
Thank you.
Good luck
Thank
on
you,
wonderful.
Kristin. Good luck on your career. I'll certainly be following you from here on, believe you me. Hey, there was one question I wanted to ask. Are you a cyclist, Kristin?
I am not the kind of cyclist like Bill is.
I wasn't asking that.
I can ride a bike. I love to ride a bike, but I am not an endurance cyclist.
Okay.
I love to ride, but he is completely other level cyclist.
That's okay.
I love to,
That's
for
okay.
recreation, absolutely.
Everybody
Awesome.
we have on the show is at another level from me. I can tell you that.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I just kept doing it over and over again. Maybe one day I'd get it right. I don't know. But thanks everybody for watching. Those of you who watch live and those will be seeing the recorded show. If you'll leave your comments, you won't win anything.
There you
We
go.
do read them.
Yes.
That you'd have. And if there's anything you'd like to share with Bill or Kristin, well, his email is there on the show notes, so you can find that there. And Jim, I got so excited here, I forgot to find Gregory.
Gregory,
He's
I'm
around
sure he's
there
out there somewhere, yeah.
Hey, Bill, Kristin, hang around for just a little bit afterwards.
This is Gregory Zuber, thanking you for watching and sharing.
Music by Kevin MacLeod.